right. Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of How I Met Your Mortgage. As always, I'm your host, Adam Smith, with Just the Tips Coaching. And we've got a wonderful guest for you guys today, someone that's also local to Colorado, which I absolutely love having people that run in my motherland, as it were, on the show. And we always find some really fascinating things to talk about. And lucky for you guys, we got some time to talk before we went live. So we were actually able to curate a bit of some really cool content for all of you in our audience. So without further ado, welcome to the show, Jessica Chariton. Hey, Jessica.
Hello, how are you?
I'm doing okay. As Mondays go, and I guess for our audience, since the vast majority of it is listenership and not viewership, while we do stream it as a video cast on Facebook, LinkedIn, and YouTube, and you're always welcome to do that as well. If you look in the top right corner of your screen there, you'll see the ability to stream it to your platforms as well. But the podcast actually doesn't go up until Wednesday. Amazon, Apple, and Spotify. So it's a couple of days delayed. So for those of you catching the podcast fresh, happy Wednesday. It's not really Wednesday. So Jessica, I'm glad we did get a chance to talk quite a bit before we went live this time around, because there were a lot of interesting things that came up in our discussion. Certainly things that are going to focus on, well, a lot of what we work on at Just Tips with our clients when it comes to social media, to team structure, to lead gen, to marketing, to on and on.
All the things you have to be as a realtor and a mortgage professional now. You can't just do your job.
No. Yeah.
It's annoying.
It is a sales job, and you have to know how to sell yourself.
Yeah.
That's really the gist of it, no question. But a few of the things that had really struck a chord with me, and I know I already gave you the beat down over some of this stuff, because I did take some time early today to go and look at what you've been up to in social media and those kinds of things. The big one in my mind is that you are not using your personal Facebook page enough. No, you're not. We're in agreement. And of course, where you are at this stage in your career, and I'm like that too, and I guarantee that a big chunk of our audience the majority of our audience is going to be in real estate and mortgages anyway. And a big chunk of them have been doing this for a minute. And I think the gist there is that, guys, your audience already knows what you do. They want to know who you are. That's really a big piece of the puzzle, especially in today's world where we can't even tell what's real and what's fake anymore. A good example of that was crack of dawn Saturday morning. Somebody had sent me a link about a war in Iran. I was like, yeah, okay, it's really hard to tell what's real or not. So I pop on the TV and flip over to, I can't remember. It's certainly not something domestic, because I think the media here in this country is just so part of the entertainment industry that it's impossible to, again, tell what's real and what isn't. So it was either Bloomberg or Sky News, or I think it was Sky News. And yeah, sure enough, we're, dropping bombs on Iran. But the gist of it was that it was so hard to tell what was real, what isn't, and it is just like that in the world today, that we really want to be transparent, authentic. We certainly want to be constant and consistent. And while we certainly want to make sure that we're growing our audience all the time, more people consuming more of our content, that we've really got to focus on the who you are, not the what you do. And everybody who knows Jessica does real estate. And there are all kinds of little fringe things. Yeah, we hope. They're all hey, for those of you that don't know that, now you know.
Surprise.
Go pay attention to what Jessica's doing, because if you are interested in any way, shape, or form in, let's just say, real estate in the Rockies, then Jessica really knows her shit that way. And that comes with a lot of things that you kind of do on the fringes, like serving on a couple of politically related groups when it comes to the Colorado Association of Realtors. You had said that you're representing a group strictly with one of our state senators.
Yep, I got assigned.
Assigned. You were voluntold.
Mm-hmm.
And then a big one for your part of the world, although people really across Colorado should know this, is dealing with water in Colorado. And that's a very big deal, water rights and so on and so forth. I actually wrote a thesis about it when I was in college at Colorado State University. And that was a minute ago.
Yep.
A minute.
Me too.
And even then, what went on with water in Colorado, where we virtually have none, is a really big deal.
But we're sharing with other states, though we virtually have none.
It to other states.
Yeah.
Literally, when the water comes out of my shower head, it no longer belongs to me. Now it belongs to Arizona, California, that kind of thing, which is just crazy, bizarre kind of stuff. But this is going to be an issue as we go on and on and on. Certainly with resources, natural resources in general. And I just don't think we've, had a grip on this kind of stuff until the last couple of few decades. And while I tell boomer jokes all the time, and boomers, you deserved it. You were the ones putting linoleum down over the hardwood floors. You deserve it. But they just didn't have the knowledge base. And it was such an enormous population that we didn't know what we were facing or what we would be facing today when it came to water rights, deforestation, the degradation of natural resources, air pollution, water, all these kinds of things. So very, very important stuff. And people do need to know that about you. Okay. But is it business related? Is it personal? Well, when we run out of drinking water in Salina, that'll be real personal.
Right. Well, I also think it keeps me so informed, much more than the average real estate agent, right?
Sure.
Because I know on a minutia level what's coming into the House and the Senate and what they're talking about. Even like if something doesn't go to committee, it could the next year. And we're reviewing those and thinking about them and talking about them in a hopefully very forward thinking way, not just how it affects real estate, but how it affects the people of Colorado. And I always had political interest. I had a speech and debate coach in high school. Shout out to Mr. Davis. And I'll tag him on Facebook.
This is awesome.
When you were talking about that, I remembered him telling me in speech and debate, he's like, you need to be a lawyer and you need to go into water law. And I went to law school and dropped out. I think we talked about that the last time I was on your show.
Yep.
So didn't make it as a lawyer, but it's been so interesting as a realtor how much influence and interest I've been able to cultivate in these same topics that affect our state. And I think lobbyists, which realtors have a lobbying group at the state capitol. We have lobbyists that we pay as a realtor association to protect real estate, property rights, water.
On a federal level too.
Yep, at a state and federal level. And I don't think a lot of people even know that or realize it, but we have like a huge part to play in the political forum. And I don't have to get elected by a party, which I would be very poorly received by either party.
Yeah, likewise. And we're not going to go down the political road today.
Yep.
Yeah, that's another podcast for another time. Although when we're talking about the things that are relevant to our audience here at JTT, obviously a lot of things when it comes to social media, to marketing, to advertising, and there's some other things that I want to discuss with you. But one of the things that we do, obviously, this is our 9th year of the How I Met Your Mortgage podcast. It is a weekly show, so we probably end up doing about 45 episodes a year. We skip a couple of holidays. Last year we skipped my birthday. I wanted the day off from that. And then every now and then something comes up, somebody gets sick, whatever the case may be. But one of the things that you are looking to do in your, I hate the term marketing because to me that kind of has a dollar connotation to it. But in your lead gen work is a podcast that you and a real estate attorney are going to work on together.
Yeah.
And while we did talk about the fact that it's a fairly niche audience, it's certainly valuable content because, boy, there are so many things that we don't know or understand when it comes to the legal ramifications of real estate.
Yeah.
I think the conversation I have most frequently is going to circumnavigate the transaction broker, and where we're that's such a tough one, where we're kind of letting go of proper legal representation. And I do think it's important for everybody to understand that the biggest piece of what goes on with real estate agents from a real estate business perspective, and I know this is way off the subject of lead gen and client retention and team structure, and we did talk about the fact that it is two jobs. But I do think that people need to understand that you are practicing a segment of real estate law, a segment of contract law. The state legally authorizes you to do that. And with it comes an enormous amount of liability. You've got to carry malpractice insurance, all of these kinds of things. And I think it's important for people to understand that there are so many legal ramifications that circumnavigate the buying and selling of real estate that having your own representation is of uber importance.
Yeah.
Because it may not just escalate past Jessica and her ability to practice real estate contract law, and that doing a podcast on some of these subjects with an actual real estate attorney should drive a really fantastic amount of content.
Yeah. And
So
I
much
look
content.
at it when you're saying lead generation, I think about it as what value can I add? So I think if we always come to lead generation from a place of giving,
Helping other people.
yeah, and you did that for me before the show. Like, well, I looked at this and I saw this, and could you try it like this way instead,
Sure.
or is that working for you? And so she and I are looking at it from, and it's Ashley Keppel, and it's Collegiate Peaks Law. Just give her a shout out too. She and I are both looking at it as conversations we have all of the time where people are asking us for advice or information, and recording that hopefully in a easy to understand format. And with her there, it's a lot more valuable than just me.
Yes and no.
She's got the degree. I know. I
understand.
dropped out of law school. So, but we're really hoping people can take that valuable information and use it to their advantage, and then remember us. I mean, and that's any type of lead generation or marketing that I try to do. I'm always trying to think about, like, how does this not just grow my business, but grow what I can offer to people. I think that automatically, organically grows your business. And it's the same thing with serving on legislative policy committee at the state level, for example. The connections I'm able to make, the people I know in other towns, especially other mountain towns. So I have good friends who I highly trust and could recommend in Summit County, because we have a lot of the same interests. When we go to work on legislation, we're like, okay, well, this really affects us this way. It doesn't affect Denver Metro that way. Are they thinking about these small mountain towns that are also part of Colorado, but have a much smaller voter
Population.
base?
Yeah.
And so those connections, we're hopefully giving back in a lot of ways, but at the same time, I'm always receiving from those connections and those opportunities. It's pretty incredible, actually. And I think if you approach your marketing that way, you'll be a lot happier. It won't feel like such a burden. You got to find like the things you're interested in and add value with those, right?
Yeah, there are a few things in that diatribe that really strike a chord with all of us, and really anybody who's been doing this for any significant length of time. We all know that in classic Zig Ziglar fashion, you just help as many people as you can get what they want, and you'll get what you want. Stay hyper focused on taking good care of people, and the rest falls into place. Now, it's funny because you guys are kind of basing this future podcast on the fact that you're getting a lot of questions that circumnavigate the legal space when it comes to real estate, and that you're getting a lot of them repeatedly.
Yeah.
Okay, now that's a really big deal, because we talked about the fact that whatever you're going to do in your lead gen, it's got to be about your audience. Now, you should identify who you want your audience to be, but then you've got to identify what they want to see, hear, read, watch. Because a lot of people get into oh, I don't know, their social media or into video or into a number of other things that they can be doing in the lead gen space. And then they start formulating the content based on what they think they should be talking about. And that's not what you should be talking about. It's not what you think, it's what your audience thinks. So, I mean, we talk about this in AI, and God, we're just going to cover every subject on the spectrum here today. But we
Okay.
have our clients use AI to build the perfect client avatar, figure out where and when they are, I don't want to say susceptible, but available, watching, listening to whatever content you're going to create. And then what is that content? What do they want to see, hear, read, watch? So if your audience is, boomers heading for retirement, you want to be focused on moving people down, helping people downsize, moving them into retirement or age minimum communities, I guess is the way we would describe it. 55 and up communities, that kind of thing. Then great, you're able to use your AI, if it knows enough about you. Hopefully, you guys are teaching it about you, how to identify those clients, who the perfect client is, where they are, when they are, so on and so forth. It's really a very big deal. But what you had struck a chord on, or at least with me, and hopefully with a lot of our coaching clients, is getting questions answered before they're asked.
Yeah.
And if you're getting a bunch of the same questions over and over, that's really easy. One of the things we have our clients do are milestone videos. So a dozen videos over the course of a transaction. They're different for buyers and sellers.
Yeah.
And then how do we figure out what videos to do? Well, what are your FAQs? What are the questions people ask you most? Make a list of those. Then write 12 quick scripts, whatever the number is, 12, 15, whatever, and get those videos recorded. And then send them out before your clients can even ask the questions. Like,
Yeah.
hey, you're under contract. Here's what happens next. Or, hey, the property's been inspected. Here's what happens next. The property's been appraised. Here's what happens next. Whatever the case may be. And not only are we limiting the volume of those redundant, repetitive questions that people are going to ask on every transaction because they already know the answer. You recorded it and gave it to them. But you're obviously able to build that psychological bond with people. They see you on video. They hear your voice, your tone, your inflection, your sense of humor, your wardrobe. I just picked up today that Jessica's only wearing one earring. That kind of thing.
It's hiding.
Right?
I've got it in.
Oh, it is? Okay. All right. I thought it was a
There's
statement.
too much hair on one side.
All right. Because when I was a kid, I only wore one.
Yeah, maybe it's
actually, eventually it became a lot. But nonetheless, your wardrobe, what your home office looks like, what your office looks like, maybe what the inside of your car looks like, your kids, your pets, your wardrobe, all these things.
Yeah.
So we're able to build stronger connections with people by having it done that way.
Yeah.
So yeah, really, really cool stuff that you have highlighted there.
I like what you said too about letting them answering the question before they ask, because I always feel like that's a little bit of a game. And if they ask the question, I'm like, dang it! I wish I would I should have I should have answered that, or I should have made sure that they had an email at least covering that spot of things. And usually, I think, or I hope my clients feel that way, that I'm on top of it.
Preemptive.
Yes, and that's where you get those 5-star reviews, and you get folks that are excited to work with you again because
refer people to you.
Yeah, they never feel lost. They never feel like you're just MIA or don't care about them. And answering before they ask, I think, is one of those key ways to make sure that they know you're there for them. You're thinking about what they need before they even realize they need it.
They need it. Well, and it certainly does lead into giving clients great experience. And of course, we have to do that.
Yeah.
All of this stuff when it comes to lead gen and whether or not we're doing social media or YouTube channel. And by the way, you guys should go check out Jessica's YouTube channel. There's a lot of cool content there.
And some of that is repeat, like a lot of my YouTube content are things that people have asked. And so then I can send them a video instead of have a 20-minute phone conversation.
Right. Well, and the rest of this is all for naught if your clients aren't getting a great experience.
Yes.
If you're hyper focused on repeat clients and client referrals, and all of you should be, that should be the goal, is to eventually have built a business that is strictly repeat clients and client referrals. You're not reliant on me doing my lead gen and referring a qualified buyer to Jessica, that kind of thing. You're certainly not, reliant on your referral partners. It's a great addition. Don't get me wrong. I'm not going to, badmouth the referral partners. That's an important piece of the puzzle. But it doesn't mean anything if you're not giving your clients a good experience. They're not going to use you again. They're not going to refer people to you if it's not that 5-star experience that Jessica was describing. So yeah, definitely a very, very important piece of the puzzle. And Jessica, there's another piece I want you to talk to us about. And we're kind of almost running the full gamut of the content here that we work on at JTT. I mean, obviously the modules break down a little more specifically. I don't think we'll talk about writing today and why it's important to have written a good bio and to be contributing to publications and maybe write a book if that's what your thing is. But your team structure is actually really unique in comparison to a lot of real estate agents out there, and even a lot of people that we have on the show. And we've got guidelines. We vet people before they get to come on the show, let alone more than once. Right? Okay.
Okay. So what's the normal then? I need to know what the normal is, because I'm trying to think. I've listened to your show and I don't.
Well, the normal is the only one wear one earring.
Got it.
Right. So you've got lead gen people with some specific tasks defined, and you've got marketing people, again, with different specific tasks designed, and you've got VA help as well, multiple, helping with some of this stuff. Now, don't get me wrong, I've got a marketing director, I think is the actual term, and she's got an assistant, and they've got a VA. And give us a little bit of insight as to how you're structuring all of this and who's doing what kind of work, what tasks, where does that shift around, those kinds of things. And what additional things are you going to have them do going forward?
Yeah, the biggest thing to me is that first I'm a wife and a mom. And if I was wearing all of the hats.
Actually, I think it's like wife, mom, 5. Okay, yeah, 5 kids.
Yeah. Okay. And so, the things that there's things only I can do for my family. And I want to be available to do those things, like be at a wrestling meet or pick somebody up from school or be home for dinner. If I was trying to wear all the marketing hats, there's no way on earth I'd be able to be present for those other things. The second thing I am is a realtor. And if I want to be a good realtor and take care of clients, I can't always be worried, just like you were saying a minute ago, about how I'm appearing on social media. And so that really is part of my business I've had to hand off. And I oversee it very strongly. Sometimes they would probably think too strongly, but I see what I like in other people's content. I listen to podcasts. I've done coaching, and those things all inform what I'm doing. So I have had a full-time administrative assistant for 2.5 years, and she oversees a marketing VA. So she does a lot of stuff, like all the things. She knows all about my business, but she runs one of the VAs pretty much by herself to create content for all of the platforms. It's ridiculous how many places you have to be.
Does she strictly focus on the sales side, or is she in ops as well?
We both work mostly remotely. We are in the same town, but she will also do the odd thing, like put up and take down a sign.
Oh, that's operations. Yeah. Okay.
Show up for a listing appointment if I need extra hands to record or video or photograph. She's helped with staging. She's helped set up food for a broker open. So she's all over the place. And she has done event planning and all kinds of things. So that was, that's been really great because she's kind of an all hands on deck in person person.
Yeah.
But then what I was seeing is that there was enough for her to do. So we hired a VA for her to run content through. So I'll generally oversee the content, but she's in the more details of the content, and she knows how we run our marketing calendar. And then she talks to the VA and tells her, well, this is what you need to create and how it needs to look. And then I have another VA that I run pretty much by myself. He's in charge of lead generation. He does phone calls, texts, emails, and a lot of the long form written content.
This is the one that writes your blog posts.
And he writes my blog posts, and I'll give him a topic and say, this, and this are important for people coming to Salida to know. So, I'll just give him like a couple things, kind of like you do with AI. And I'm sure he uses AI for, writing. And then he sends it back to me. But what it does, having him, is keeps me very consistent so that my CRM is touched every day. He's contacting people out of there that are reading the blog and then putting in their information. He's also making sure to follow up so that my appointment calendar is correct. So he'll email like my appointments the day before and say, you're meeting with Jessica such and such time. So that's just kind of how we've split it up. I know there's lots of different ways to do that, but that's what we found has worked. And the two VAs that I chose have very different strengths. One of them was very much like visual content creation. And so that's why she's the marketing VA. And the other one, the one that I work with mainly on lead generation, his English skills and written skills were phenomenal. And he had experience as an ISA, inside sales agent calling. And so that's why he ended up being the choice for that.
How'd you find these people?
I use VirtueDesk, which was a great hiring platform, and they've been really on top of it. They provide sales training and coaching for their VAs. So every once in a while,
that's big.
Yeah, I'll get information on like what the VAs are being trained on, and they've been very proactive, autonomous. We meet regularly, but I'm not babysitting, and it has really helped take my hands off a lot of little things that would otherwise not happen, just like my personal Facebook page doesn't happen. So you do have to appear like you're everywhere all of the time.
All the time.
People need to think, and that can't be you making yourself everywhere all the time. You would go insane. So
I'll bet that's happened. There are plenty of people where that's happened. No question.
Yeah, and they've been great. Yeah, I can give a big shout out to VirtueDesk. The other thing that's been really useful in generating good high-level content, and a lot of it every week, is AI, of course. And so we've experimented and heavily used Claude, HeyGen, 11 Labs, all that stuff. Some of it is better than others. Some of it's like not working real well yet, and maybe the technology will get better, but it's all worth working on.
Yeah, and those are platforms that we discuss on the regular. I'm really big right now on Claude, and the one I really hadn't thought I would be so keen on, more on that personal, the who you are, not what you do level, is Meta. Right. So we know when it comes to AI, and God, we really are covering the gamut of a lot of different modules that we work on here. We all know when it comes to AI that one of the most important pieces is making sure that your AI knows about you.
Yeah.
Right. Again, how do you write? How do you look? How do you conduct business? Who's your?
How do I use my hands all the time when I talk?
How do I use my hands all the time when I talk? Whatever the case may be. And it got me thinking about how to shortcut that process.
Yeah.
And boy, if you're using Facebook, Insta, then there is so much content about you that Meta already has that it just seemed like such an easy step into kind of circumnavigating this lengthy process. And guys, it does have to be lengthy. It has to be detailed. It has to have effort put into it. You've got to teach your AI about you. There's just no other way to do it. Now, there are ways to shortcut it. Like we have a lot of our real estate coaching clients take all of their past listing descriptions and upload that into their AI so that the AI has learned how you write listing descriptions. and then it will write them in a manner for you that's going to be a whole lot closer to how you would actually write them. Okay. So, but when we're talking about the volume of content being put into our AI, we've already done it with Meta. It's just a byproduct.
That's cool. I haven't really thought about that. I love that.
Yeah, we're posting pictures on Facebook. We're doing reels, these kinds of things. So Meta already has this amazing amount of content about us, and we've been able to circumnavigate that process. So yeah, that's really, really a big one. The two that I'm really looking forward to are AI.com, and they ran a big ad campaign during the Super Bowl. In fact, so big that it crashed their system. Our clients were eventually we're all able to get on and secure their handles. And for those of you that haven't, you certainly still can. And when they're ready to roll, they'll let everybody know. And the other one was GenSpark. That was the one that Matthew Broderick did the ads for during the Super Bowl. And, you know, how can you not trust Ferris Bueller? Right? That kind of thing. But yeah, it looks like the workload that GenSpark is going to pick up for people using AI. And this is certainly true in the typical cubicle farm, whatever that career happens to be. But in real estate and mortgages, I think there's a lot that GenSpark will be picking up for people to be able to expedite, to save time, to increase productivity, to decrease time spent, all the things that we want AI to do for us. Now we just need to focus on how to get people to understand that, one, AI is not Google. It's not a data set, it's a process. And of course, I got to get people to figure out they need to stop creating problems that they don't have and didn't need for AI to solve, rather than using AI to solve the problems they already have.
They do have,
so,
yeah.
Oh, God, it's terrible. Okay, well, I knew we were going to run over our usual time window because we always do. And Jessica, this has been great. We talked about so much fantastic stuff today.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah,
I learned a bunch of stuff. I was just taking some notes so that I don't forget a few things we talked about.
All right. And for the rest of you that weren't privy to what Jessica and I were doing before we went live, don't post outside links on social media. Please don't give your audience an opportunity to click away. You're just damaging your edge rank. You're hurting the place where you sit in the algorithm. And the curse of it all is YouTube. Don't post a YouTube link to a Meta platform because, well, Meta hates YouTube. Meta hates Google. And they the algorithm will suppress your post.
Curse you for it. Yeah.
Yeah, literally. Yeah, that's basically the gist. And yeah, people just have got to get a grip on how to help themselves.
Yeah.
With that kind of stuff. Yeah, if you're going to do it anyway, guys, you're going to play on social media. Do it with some intent. I guess before we sign off here, I recommend the book What to Post, which was written by a real estate agent. It is a few years old at this point. I can't remember how old now, maybe even 10 years. But coming from the perspective of real estate and mortgages and integrating that with social media, I think the content is still very, very relevant, maybe more so now because our audiences are craving things that are real with all the AI and all of the, fake photos and videos and cartoon action figures, and however many of you took that stupid candy cane picture at Christmas and had AI create a Christmas photo for you. And I'll say that it did kick me enough in the butt that I went and made a Hanukkah one. So why not? All right. So that's it, Jessica. Thank you so much for doing this again. I'm going to put another episode on the books for us here in the not too distant future because we got a lot to talk about.
Yeah. Well, let's see if I fix some of the things that you told me about.
Oh, that'll be part of it. And I want to see the podcast get off the ground.
Oh, yeah. And I'll share the episodes with you when I'll send you one when we record the first one.
Good. It is a lot of work. And Jen, that does a lot of the marketing work for us, will attest. We've even gone so far as to attend PodFest in Orlando so that we could learn more about all the different things when it comes to equipment and software and how to get your podcast approved with all these different platforms and on and on and on. But yeah, we'll certainly talk about that next time. For the rest of you watching live or listening to the podcast in syndication, thanks for tuning in. You can catch new episodes of How I Met Your Mortgage on Mondays at 9:30 Pacific, 12:30 Eastern on Facebook, LinkedIn, and YouTube. And the podcast up a mere 48 hours later on Amazon, Apple, and Spotify. And if you want more information about us, if you want past episodes, if you want to catch the weekly blog, the weekly little tip, if you want copies of the books I've written on this subject, if you want to find out more about our annual conference, whatever, go check out justthetipscoaching.com. You'll be able to find all that stuff. Otherwise, thanks for tuning in. Jessica, love you. Thanks for doing another episode with us.
Thank you.
And don't run off, because I do want to chit chat with you about a couple of things. I'm going to run the extra. And for the rest of you, we'll see you next time.